I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks for joining us. Today on the show, we're going to discuss the fine line between stupid and illegal. We're going to talk about game emulators with the president of Bleem and whether it's legal or not to emulate a game console on your PC.
Once and for all, for heaven's sake, crying out loud.
Of course, he might have a certain opinion.
Well,
we should get Sony on to get there.
Do you think he might be slightly
a little biased,
a little slanty in one direction?
But he knows what. I mean, he knows. You know,
he knows the legality of it because that's what he does for a living.
Yeah.
So there you go.
He'll be accompanied by his attorney to make sure he doesn't say anything.
Right. Don't finish. Oh, and also the. Okay, never mind. Also, a few tips and tricks using DirectX Diagnostic to optimize your gaming and anything else that uses DirectX. This week's Windows tip.
Then later, new innovations in the MP3 players from the Consumer Electronics Show on today's Fresh Gear.
Fresh Gear.
Thank you. Now, today, it kind of ties in with the emulator question. Our chat topic of the day, should cracking software you own be illegal?
That means cracking software
you own.
That you own, your own
Here's
software.
where this comes from. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act apparently has what's called fair use clause in it, which means that it is, according to I'll call it the DMCA to save time, the DMCA, which is the law of the land. Actually, it's the international law. Apparently, according to it, it is illegal to create software that's designed to end around somebody's copyright. So it would be illegal to create and use software that breaks copy protection. Now, there's two big cases going on right now. There's one that's actually today they had a hearing. I'll have to get the update on it on software to crack DVD ROMs. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's here in San Francisco Bay Area, I believe. And then there's another one that there's a website, 2600, which is a cracker website that has posted a program for cracking DVD codes as well. And Emmanuel Goldstein, who runs the site, is in fact he has a hearing coming up next week. Which he says he's not going to go to, on whether this software should be yanked from the market. In both cases, it's the movie industry that's trying to shut this software down, and they're using the DMCA as their means, their lever to shut this stuff down, saying it's illegal not to use it. Everybody agrees that piracy is illegal, but it's illegal to make software that allows piracy.
At all.
Now, I'll give you an example of what I think is fair use. I bought and I love Age of Empires, but I don't like the fact that it requires a CD every time. I want to be able to just play it without the CD.
Right.
Now, I own the software. I'm not stealing the software. I own the software. I have my own disc with the Microsoft holographic logo on the box and everything, but I downloaded a cracker so it doesn't ask for the CD anymore. To me, that's a convenience. To me, that should be my fair use, my fair right. According to these lawyers and the DMCA, it's illegal. So, should cracking software that you own, we're not saying, obviously piracy is illegal, but should cracking software that you own be illegal? What do you think?
Of course not.
No, that's my right.
I paid for my PlayStation with my own money, and if I want to burn copies to back up my own PlayStation games, and I have to use a mod chip to get in there, I should be able to work with my own PlayStation games. But here's the rub.
This law would make a mod chip illegal.
But that's the point, that the mod chip, I may be using it for legal purposes, but are the bulk of people using it for illegal purposes? And is that why you make the law?
I mean, maybe the bulk of people who drive cars are using them to speed. That doesn't mean I get to take away your car.
That's true.
You have to break the law first, right?
But it's always one bad apple in the bunch that wrecks it for everybody else.
So, yay or nay?
I have the right to crack my own dang software. Thank you very much. But you can see what we think. We want to know what you think. Take our web poll, screensavers.com. See, it even gets out, even if you're not loud. Click on the talkback feature to express your opinion, of course, to the rest of us.
Watching the screensavers, having a bud. Giving us a call, too, at the telephone. That's 888-989-7879.
Most of our viewers are underage, Leo.
Well, they wouldn't be having. They would be having a root beer.
A nice, healthy soda pop for the kids there. That's right.
I love that about Peanuts, because Snoopy always drank root beer.
That's right.
Yes.
Hardcore root beer drinker.
Or chat with us, chat.zdnet.com. Have a root beer in there. Click on the screensavers room for more information.
Unless, of course, you want to be on television. And look how much fun this is. Just click
We're having a good time.
Yeah. Click on the Netcam Cineplex. That's right. You see?
Say strange things like, what's up?
Over and over again. Just like that. So, of course, if you click on the Netcam Cineplex, you'll get to talk to Shannon and Brad.
Oh, there they are.
Look at this motion picture studio.
DVD pirating. Uh-oh, you're in trouble, Shannon Holbrook.
Uh-oh. Shannon!
She's got her subpoena there.
Shannon and Brad are in there cracking their own software.
In the modern age, you're nothing if you ain't got a subpoena. That's what I say. By the way, while we get paid to do this on television, we will also pay you to do your webcam thing on television.
What?
Yes. We'll give them a fine magnet.
Oh, okay. I was like, what you talking about?
This is your pay.
All right,
a 3-cent magnet.
Look at our fridge. There's Roger's student ID. Can I just gripe for 1 second?
Wow.
I went to San Francisco State University.
Did you get that bridge thing in the back there?
I had butt ugly ID that was like red with just a big icky picture in the middle, and he's got the Golden Gate Bridge in the background.
Wow.
Ooh.
I'm going to call him Yahweh from now on, by the way.
Yes, that's right. The Lord works for our show. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Works
Chris joins us on the phone from Toms Rivers, New Jersey. Chris, we can't give you one of these, but I'll be holding it for when you get a webcam, okay?
Oh, I have one. It just wasn't working right.
Oh, no.
Oh,
We're here.
Give it to him anyway.
You get one anyway. Because you tried.
Because you made the noble effort.
Oh,
Tell you what, we'll
okay,
pretend
Shannon.
we can see you.
Yeah, Shannon's been really trying. She did her best.
You know what? It's bleeding edge technology. It often does not work. Yeah, he's laughing.
Yeah, it's a miracle that netcams work at all. You know?
So what can we do for you, Chris?
Yes. I really want to. I love that airport, the airport card and center thing that they have for a Mac.
Isn't that neat?
The Apple.
It's great. It really is. The Apple thing is unbelievable. Is there any type of PC application that I can get like that?
Well, it's supposed to work on the PC, actually. That's the fun part with the airport, but it needs an adapter.
This is the airport. This is the transmitter portion. It has a modem in it and an Ethernet connection on the back so that you could plug your Internet access into it, and then it transmits it to, I don't remember what it is, up to 15 different computers. Now, on the Mac, they have a little PC-style card that goes in the iBooks and in the new G4s that allows them to work with this. But that's what's important about this. This is a standard that was developed by Lucent Technologies, formerly Bell Labs. It's IEEE 802.11, and as a result, that means there will be PC products. Lucent is making them. I believe Farallon or maybe Netopia is going to make them for PCs. But as far as I know,
so you buy the hardware from Apple, but you have to buy the adapter from someone else.
Well, no, there will also be transmitters on the PC side, but this is by far the cheapest.
Okay.
Yes, you'll buy the airport. I've talked to people who've used the airport with PC hardware. By the way, I haven't seen any PC hardware yet, so this must be review copies or pre-release copies that they've been testing.
Okay.
They say the configuration's a little tricky. For instance, you have to know your MAC, your MAC address on your PC the first time you configure the card. Things like that are kind of weird.
Be prepared.
That sounds kind of strange.
Yeah, they're doable, though, and you know, if you have the right documentation, you can find your MAC address and so forth.
Yeah, because I saw that thing the other day when you had when
I walked out the hall.
Yeah, that, and then afterwards about how it's going to be. You don't have to have the airport anymore. It's going to be built into the Macs themselves.
Yeah, now that's a cool thing. It is, and this is kind of cool. If you put the card in two iBooks, they'll talk to each other with an update in firmware.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, so you don't need the transmitter because they already have the antennas in the lid of the iBook.
The iBook is just the most intelligent handbag I've ever seen in my life.
And by the way, you've earned your magnet because we now see you and you look great.
Oh, how you doing?
So, yes, these will be out. The PC solutions are more expensive. What I'm hearing from people who know is buy the airport transmitter and use a PC card. Obviously, you can't use the airport cards in your PC. They're not PCI.
Right.
But use a PC card in your PC, and that should all work well. We will, the minute you can get them, we'll try them, and we'll give you a review. But I don't believe you can buy them yet. Go to the Lucent site and check it out.
Lucent?
Yeah, Lucent is going to be one of them, and I think Farallon's the other. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put David Prager to work and see if we can find some links to sites, see if anybody's selling this yet on the PC, and if they are, we'll put it in our after-show notes, okay?
Okay.
We send those out after every show via email. If you don't subscribe, go to thescreensavers.com. And you can get it. Hey, thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Great to talk to you.
Hello, everybody. Goodbye.
Hello, goodbye.
I'm glad we at least got him for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I really like this wireless technology, and I think it's going to be really great. But you know, it will be expensive at least initially on the PC.
I'm looking forward to the wireless notebook.
You can walk
carry around.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Sweet.
Love that.
After the break, it's going to be time to tidy up your hard drive for a few new downloads when the Screensavers continues. Courtesy of the ZDNet software library, it's presenting this week's top downloads. Number 5, WinZip 32-bit version.
Oh, the new one's in beta already.
All right.
It's going to change.
Number 4 spot, hundreds of solitaire games. In Soul Suite 2000, never leave the house or speak to anyone else ever again. In third place, a multimedia rack system, Jet Audio Plus.
Ooh,
holding
dirty.
steady is the runner-up, the ever-popular Paint Shop Pro. And for the third consecutive week, number 1 top down. Sing it with me, Leo.
Gozilla,
Gozilla, Gozilla. Download any of these programs from the ZDNet software library at hotfiles.com.
You know, I got to tell you, Soledad O'Brien never did that.
Never what?
I'm just telling you. Godzilla. Godzilla. Actually, you know what? She did a lot.
Soli?
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine Soledad doing the Cabbage Patch.
She taught me.
Oh, no wonder.
So good at it.
That explains a lot. Let's not take a call.
Yes. Mark on the line from Yardley, Pennsylvania. Hello, Mark. What's up?
Hi.
How you doing, Mark?
Scaring him. Hi, Mark.
Okay, how about you?
Pretty good. Can you churn butter or like do the Cabbage Patch? Mark?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Neither can I.
No, me neither, really. I'm not very good at it because it takes...
Bill Gates taught me.
Well, that explains a lot. Hence the chewing on the lower lip as well. You have white man's overbite. It's really cute. So what can we do for you, Mark?
I was wondering if you could tell me how I could make my own news group.
Oh!
What
Good
kind
question.
of news group do you want to make?
I was planning on making one based on Star Trek RPGs.
Ooh. So let me explain how news groups work.
All right.
Because you have to understand how they work. It's not like a website where you put it up and then anybody can come to it. The way news groups work is they're actually not on the Internet. They're on their own network, and they're propagated to each individual Internet service provider. So when you read a news group, you're not reading data that is on some server somewhere across the country. You're actually reading data that has been copied, often via satellite, to your Internet service provider's hard drives. You're reading it off of local hard drives.
So you only get news groups that are available to your Internet service provider.
That's right. Well, not just available, but they choose to as well.
Okay.
So and that's why sometimes you might get a different set of news groups that other people get.
Now, but if you go to Deja.com, you have access to whatever news groups you want.
They act like an Internet service provider, and they download. They say, we're going to take everything. Same thing with Super News. We're going to take which is another subscription-only web-based news group site. We're going to take everything. But your Internet service provider, for disk space reasons, and maybe for other reasons as well, often censorship reasons, may not take every news group.
Okay.
So, and that's critical to you, Mark, because in order for people to see your news group, you have to make a news group that all the Internet service providers take. And you almost have to persuade it, not one by onesie, twosie, but you have to kind of do it. So there is an official process that you go through to create a news group.
That's the hardest part, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Convincing them to pick you up.
Now, there's two kinds of news groups. And you'll notice the biggest set of news groups is in the alt family, alt dot whatever. Those news groups can be created, in theory, ad hoc. They don't need permission. There's no formal RFC, request for comment process. It can just be created and almost overnight put up on the news groups. And that's why those often have the current event news groups, and a lot of the piracy news groups are there, the alt thing. So if you want to create an alt.fan.startrek.rpgs, that's probably what I would suggest doing. That's much easier than creating, let's say, something like a comp dot or one of the other areas, okay? We're out of time, so I'm not going to be able to show you the process. But what I'll do is I'll put a link and some descriptions of what to do in our show notes. We've done this before. There's also, if you search in the website of the Screensavers website, there's also an article about this. And there's a news group that you have to go to. I cannot for the life of me remember it, where you'll put out a proposal for what you want your news group to be. And then, even if you're doing an alt group, it's suggested that you do that, because then that's what Internet service providers look at to decide whether they're going to take that news group. That's
why you want to write a very carefully written, articulate, spell-checked proposal for your news group, because you want to actually get them to pay attention to you and pick it up.
It's a pitch. You know, and you also have to convince them that there'll be lots of people who want to participate, and most importantly, that their customers will want it.
Yeah.
So that, if they're a good ISP, they'll be carrying it.
Give them a hint maybe as to how many friends you have or people you know, how many people play the RPGs.
Yeah, 23 million people play these RPGs every single year or whatever that is. It's a pitch. So I'll give you all the details because I just, off the top of my head, I cannot remember for the life of me. It's, I don't want to say. But we'll find it, and we'll put it in the show notes so that you can do that yourself. In fact, there's a great website, which we linked to last time, that says how to create a news group. Okay?
Thank you.
The main thing is to understand that it's not like the web where you just put it up and then people have to find it. You have to get everybody to propagate it.
What a pain.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Otherwise, just make a message board.
Well, there's 30,000 news groups. You can see why they might want to put a lid on how many more there are.
Yeah. Hey, you! Not you. You.
Them?
Them.
Oh,
yeah. Those them? You think so?
Yeah,
okay.
that's awesome.
You can find out how to optimize gaming on Windows when Screensavers continues. It's all about DirectX.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Screensavers.com is the best place for more information about what's on this show and this show alone. Get the show notes delivered to your inbox every evening. And we've got some stuff to do already. Just click on Interact and sign up for our daily newsletter. We've got a bunch of things to put in there already. It's all at thescreensavers.com. Highly recommend that you read them because we work very hard on doing them.
That's right.
That's right.
We work very, very hard to bring you a fabulous website every day. All right?
All right.
All right. Now, it's time for the weekly Windows tip and the charming, effervescent music that comes with it. This week, we're going to optimize your gaming and anything else that uses DirectX with DirectX 7 diagnostic tool.
Cool.
Now, I recommend upgrade to DirectX 7. Now, there are diagnostics with DirectX 6, but if you go to the Windows Update section of Microsoft's site, that's under Product Updates, go there, download DirectX 7. It has improved textures, improved things for network play. It supports force feedback, mice, all kinds of stuff, new improvements. Give it a try. It also actually is going to support 3D Now extensions on AMD. And SSD extensions, and some MMX extensions. So go ahead, download 7. Now, here's the question. What do you do with it now? What if it's not working? Something a lot of people don't know they have is the DirectX diagnostic feature. Where is that?
Where is that?
That's under your Program Files directory. Here, I'll show you. Program Files,
it doesn't,
DirectX.
The installation doesn't put a entry to that, huh?
It does not. And there it is. It's the only thing in that folder,
They
DirectX
hide it.
Diax. They hide it from you. They don't want you to know the power, but we do. So we're going to show you what you do with it. Now, one thing that I think is very valuable here is it will go through and actually show you every DirectX file, media file, or driver that's been installed on your machine. So you can go through and check it. Now, you may see, and we have none of them here, but sometimes you'll find an exclamation point next to a driver. It'll say it's not working. On my machine, I did find a couple of drivers that said were not working, and I reinstalled. Did make a difference. So you can go through and check them here. It will also tell you, and this may not really mean anything, and I can't find one that says this, but it may tell you, give you an error message saying that Microsoft has not certified this particular driver. That just means it hasn't made it through Microsoft's quality test, but that doesn't mean that there's a problem with the file. Just be aware of that. Now, tests you can run. This is the great part. Display. You can actually test your DirectDraw or Direct3D and find out if they're working or enable and disable them.
This is an example. We are using the GeForce driver from Creative Labs. This one is not yet certified. That merely means Creative Labs didn't go to the trouble of getting it certified. That's
right.
all.
And that
it doesn't mean it doesn't work.
No. So you just hit yes, and you can actually go through and test DirectDraw. We're going to have some blitting from the background for now. And now, full screen mode.
This is testing the capabilities of your driver, and it should be able to pass all these tests without problems. Otherwise, it's not fully DirectX compliant. And that's really more important than the actual certification, is the fact that it can pass these tests.
Absolutely.
We saw a bouncing white box.
Yep, we saw. Okay, we did that. You can also test your sound, your music for direct music. This is kind of fun.
Rock and roll.
Because, you know, I've had DirectX work for me video-wise, but not with my sound card, so that can be a problem too. If you run through all these things, input, this is where you can input that 8-button mouse or that force feedback joystick you were talking about, put it in here. Network, this will test your network play capabilities. This is really helpful, helps you test your IP, all that stuff, make sure it works. Now, did all of this fail? Did none of it work? You can still do one more thing. Go to More Help. If you look, there's a couple of troubleshooting wizards you can run here. One that will actually let you test. I had a problem, for instance, with choppy sound. Hit it right here. Look, hey, the sound is choppy, and it'll take you through some steps to try to repair. 9 times out of 10, however, the result is just install new drivers. It doesn't always work. But you can still run the sound troubleshooter, get MS info, and override DirectDraw's refresh rate, which I don't recommend that you do. So Get some power behind your DirectX. Find out if it's working or if you just have to reinstall the whole shebang. Check out our website, thescreensavers.com, for more details about the DirectX diagnostics or any of our other Windows tips.
Very cool. Phil joins us on the phone from Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Really?
Hi, Phil. Oh, yeah.
Hi, Kate and Leo. How are you this evening?
We're great.
Very well, thank
you.
you.
Do you have the Steelers playing in Kansas?
No, well, we occasionally watch them on TV, but only when the Chiefs get to beat on us.
Yeah, you're a little more a Kansas City fan, huh?
Oh, of course. Die hard.
What can we do for you, Phil?
Well, we got a compact Presario computer for Christmas.
All right.
Merry
big
Christmas.
Fat beastie with the AMD and all the wonderful bells and whistles.
Yay.
Then I was given a brand new Matrox Millennium G400 video card.
Wow. Santa really liked you.
Well, Santa was good to me this year.
Santa was very good.
My wife.
The G400 is a beautiful card, yeah.
Anyway, I was wondering how I could get it to work with the compact, since the current video card in the compact is kind of proprietary.
It's on board, right?
Yes.
It's not in a slot. You can't pull it out of the slot.
No.
It's on the motherboard.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, here's a question. That GeForce card, is that an AGP card?
He's got G400.
Yes, it is.
G400, right.
Does video capture and all the wonderful stuff.
Now,
and you have a AGP slot, I hope.
Yes.
That's the question. I'm surprised that there's even an AGP slot.
Well, that's
on
what
a machine
Compact is telling me. I haven't took the computer apart yet.
Okay. You'll see the AGP slot is a short brown slot that's clearly that belongs to nothing else. There's only one of them.
Well, hold up your AGP card, look at the slot.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think the best thing to do is just put it in and turn it on and see if it works.
Okay.
You may have a situation where you have a two-monitor situation where you could actually run two monitors at once, which you may want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. So that's why I wouldn't disable it initially. But if you look in the compact documentation, or more likely in your BIOS, there'll be a way to disable the onboard video. But I don't know if you need to, in other words, what I'm saying. It depends. If that onboard video... Now, see, it's possible. You said it's an AMD chip, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good, because if we're an Intel chip, then you might have an 810 chipset. So folks would have an Intel chip with an 810 chipset. They're out of luck. Even though you have AGP video, it's motherboard only, and there's no AGP slot. Now, I'm not familiar with this Presario, so I don't know, but you said the compact says you have a slot. Not merely AGP video, but a slot.
That's what they told me.
Okay.
I'm afraid they told him he had AGP video.
Well, I don't know. Just open the case up. You should see. It'll be obvious there's a slot. I would just put the other card in, see if you can use two monitors, see if it works. If it does, you're in gravy. Now you've got two monitors.
Oh.
If it doesn't, then you want to go into there'll be two places you can disable this on all onboard hardware, whether it's video, sound, or modems. There'll either be a setup switch, if you go into your BIOS setup, you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
There'll be a switch that says disable onboard video. Or there may be, I don't think so on a newer motherboard like this, a jumper on the motherboard itself that you have to set. Either way, that should be documented.
That'll be in the documentation. Do you know how to get into the BIOS on your compact, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it's F10. For those of you who don't know, as soon as you get your flashing square, F10. They hide that. They don't want you to know.
There's no reason why you can't have two video cards with Windows 98. So I would try it and see.
Okay.
All right, Phil.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're going to like that G400. It's a very nice card.
Oh, I hope so. My son loves to play games, so it's mainly for him. I'm going to use it for the video capture myself.
See, I think the two monitors might be a nice way to go.
And that's a rockin' video card for gaming.
Yeah. Hey, don't start flipping,
cool.
folks. Thank you, Phil. Still to come on this very show, we're going to discuss the legal issues of game emulators. Also, more answers to your toughest computing questions, plus the newest MP3 players from the Consumer Electronics Show. All that and more as the Screensavers rolls on. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you for joining us on the show.
But I do it for you.
Today in the chat room, should cracking your own software be illegal?
Heck no.
No. We say no. However, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act says, at least according to some interpretations, yes, it's illegal to use or make any program that is designed to get around copyright protections. Now, that would mean maybe emulators, certainly cracking software,
mods for your
chips for your PlayStation are illegal according to this law.
This reminds me of the suit against Napster, because Napster is an engine for sharing MP3s. We're not saying our MP3s are pirated, are we? But they want to make the actual application for sharing them illegal. Same thing.
Same thing. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they use the DMCA as their legal justification for going against Napster. I'm talking about the Recording Industry Association of America, who is suing Napster. So it's an interesting issue, and I think when this Digital Millennium Copyright Act was being debated, I think you and I came out saying it's a bad idea, it goes way too far. And one of the key things that's missing that was in previous copyright laws is this notion of fair use. Fair use was how they balanced free speech with copyright law. You had fair use of something. For instance, when a teacher Xeroxes an article and uses it in the classroom, that's often considered a fair use of the article, not a violation of copyright law. If I modify programs that I own, it's not a modification of copyright law, it's fair use. But there's no fair use provision in the DMCA, which means that any use of any software designed to end around copyrights would be illegal. And we think that that's a bad thing. Now, there are two court cases being tried right now about this, and we'll watch them very closely. One against 2600, the hacker website, and one against a group of people who've made an open source version of a DVD player program. So those are very interesting cases, and we think it's kind of a chilling effect. But I'm hoping that the courts will say, no, free speech protects fair use.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Kate and Leo stand up and say, you have the right to crack your own dang software.
I think so. Come on.
Well, no, of course, it's not just about us, though, is it?
No, it's about
them. We want to know what you think. We each get to vote one time.
Patello.
The screensavers.com. Good boy. You can have a cookie later. And while you're there, click on the... You can't.
I did.
Leo, put out your wrist right now.
Sorry.
Why, the huge importance, the sacred nature of our online poll has totally been debunked now.
Yeah, that sacred online poll. You can chat with us, too, at chat.zdnet.com, and we'd love to see you in the chat room. By the way, thanks to Tom Merritt, our brilliant website producer.
Love him so much.
Let me refresh right now. You remember we had a question on how do you create your own news group. We found the original article. Tom put it up there, the basics of creating a news group, so I don't have to go out and write a real long rant on how to do it. We have the way to do it right here. And here is the news group. News announce news groups, and then the proposal goes into news.groups. And the whole thing is here.
All right.
It is an elaborate process if you want to get... Now, then go to the alt news group section to find out how much easier it is to do. And this is a great... Jennifer Mark wrote that one. So this is a great article. Makes it a lot easier. It's all there, thescreensavers.com, and thanks to Tom Merritt for getting that up so quickly. That's what the web's all about. Instantaneous response.
Bang, bang, bang. He's a third geek, too. He's just watching the show. Hey, Sharon joins us on the ZDTV3 ComNet Chem Network from land of my birth, Dallas, Texas. How you doing, Sharon?
Just fine. Hi, Kate and Leo.
Hi, Sharon.
Nice to see you.
What can we do for you?
Well, I've been recording CD-ROM,
and
I was using Direct Packet to record a CD-ROM that I could share some software like NetMeeting.
That's a UDF format, yeah.
Right, and it gives you an option to save that in a format that can be read by other Win95, 98 machines.
Okay.
And I saved it like that.
Right.
I then took it and tried to use it to be read on other machines, and what's interesting is the first time it would see the CD-ROM.
Right.
It would see the directories.
Right.
After that, it saw nothing.
Is it an older CD-ROM you're looking at, or is it a variety of CD-ROMs?
That
you're using to read?
Burner?
No, to read.
Read. Well, no, both of them were fairly new. One was a 44 and the other was on a new Toshiba laptop.
Okay. Because earlier CD-ROMs did have some problems. Drives had some problems reading recorded CD-ROMs. Is it an RW or an R?
It's an RW.
Yeah, usually
the disc I was using was an R.
Okay.
I mean, my recorder does both, but I only...
I got it. You did it on a CDR.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, packet writing, which you're doing, which is really neat, allows you to drag a file onto the CD or even delete files from the CD, even on a CDR, just as if it were a hard drive. But it does that by using something called UDF, Universal Data Format, which is kind of a non-standard CD format.
Oh.
I'm wondering if you need to be running the packet reading software on those other machines.
Okay, well, I did. After this happened, I did go to the Adaptec site, and I saw that, but the direct packet software to record doesn't say anything about
Direct
that.
CD is the program that she's talking about. It doesn't say that in order for other CDs to read it, other computers to read it, you need the software.
No, you just have to close it in a specific format.
That's key, and you are closing it, right?
Right.
Okay, that's another thing. It's left open so that you can continue to copy stuff, but you have to close the session in order for other people to be able to read it.
Right, and it tells you you're going to use up so much space, et cetera, if you close it.
And it closes properly, doesn't give you any error messages.
Right, and I can read it, perfectly well on my machine. And
of course, your machine's running direct CDs.
Right. So. But what was interesting, I did manage to go to one machine and I copied one of the programs I wanted.
Right. But not the others.
Once again, it quit reading the CD.
So it works and then quits.
I could tell you, that sounds to me like it's having trouble with the file system.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if you do an ISO, a standard disk, you're going to be able to copy it over. And you burn it in a batch where you run the program, you burn it all into a disk, a batch, close the session, and bring it over. Right. I'm thinking it's the UDF format.
You think if I download that packet software for them, they might be able to, the reader software?
I would try that. I would try installing direct CD on those other machines and see if that fixes it. If it does, then that means, you somehow need to, because it's an oddball file format, you somehow need to put a patch into Windows to let it read it. Okay. I've never tried this, so I don't know. I mean,
that seems to me sort of one of the obvious reasons for using direct packet.
Right.
Yeah.
Is to copy and move it over.
I just don't understand why she'd be able to see it on first launch of the CD. It would see files, but the second time she put the CD on files.
That's kind of commensurate with for instance, when you had multi-session CDs, you'd get weird. In the old days, before CD readers were multi-session, you'd get weird effects like that. Okay. That's what you would kind of expect if it's an oddball format. I'll tell you what, we're going to give this one to the Third Geek and let them, I'm sure there's somebody watching, Sharon, who's done this, who knows exactly what it is that you need to do to make it work. Before the show's over, I'm sure we'll find out. If not, again, I'll put that in the show notes. I have a lot of homework tonight.
All right.
But it should work. I haven't tried it, so I can't say, I don't use the direct CD that much because I don't like having to, be honest with you, I just don't like having direct CD running all the time. But it is a neat idea, especially with RW, because then you have basically your CD, especially if you have a fast recorder, it acts like a big hard drive.
Which is what
copy stuff off onto.
Yeah,
it's handy. So, Sharon, you stumped us, but we'll find an answer, I guarantee you.
Okay, I'll keep watching the archives.
The court of last resort for tough questions like that.
No kidding. But you see how fast we got that news group answer up
there.
We'll
get it for you.
Promise
you.
We'll have it for you.
Keep watching.
Now, Sharon, will you take us to break, please?
Be happy to. Thanks, Kate and Leo. Sumi Das shows us some new innovations in MP3 players when the screensavers continues.
Very nice job, ma'am. A big wave for you. There you go. Bye. Bye, Sharon. Take the Screensavers Online Super Geek Challenge to learn more about your favorite toy and ours, the the computer. Test your technology in this week's quiz. Alphabet Soup O Acronyms. It's all at thescreensavers.com, FYI PDQ.
One little Rotato tip. Always have 2 Rotatos, one for meat, one for vegetables, I find. Congratulations
I think you could cut. That's okay. Yes?
Congratulations to Paul from West Allis, Wisconsin, the winner of yesterday's Super Geek Quiz T-shirt or fedora. There's the lovely fedora right there. If you want to win, you can.
By filling out the form after you've taken the quiz for your... This looks really dorky backward, doesn't it? Would you tell me? Would you tell me if I look dorky? You wouldn't tell me. Would you tell me if I look dorky, Jeb?
They might.
Of course you would. Of course. You guys are like,
you don't look dorky. Let me go watch TV.
All right, thanks. Well, as promised, he's checking it out.
Dorky.
Oh, okay. Here's Sumi Das. Thanks, man. With a look at something. You got a little something right there. Unusual MP3 players up today's Fresh Gear.
The CES show floor was covered with MP3 players. Everyone from Sony to yet unknown companies have their own versions. But we want something above and beyond the average player, and that's what we found. The Music Store Jukebox from Memory Corporation Group is a self-contained portable device that allows you to encode audio CDs to MP3 files and store them on the Music Store's 6-gig hard drive. Best of all, the device allows you to manage your MP3s without the need of a PC. It has a docking slot so you can upload your music and playlist to a portable MP3 player called the Soulmate. The Music Store with the Soulmate MP3 player will be available in March for $500. And now for the ultimate in portability. This is the wrist audio player from Casio. It incorporates an MP3 player into a wristwatch. Now, as you might expect with a player of this size, it doesn't have any removable storage, but it does have 32 megs of internal memory. That should be enough for about 6 or 7 songs. With included headphones and a USB docking bay, portability doesn't get any easier. The Casio wrist audio player will cost about $300 and will be available in March. The Nomad Jukebox from Creative may look like a portable CD player, but it's actually an MP3 player with 6 gigs of built-in memory. Its massive storage capacity can store over 100 hours of CD-quality music. Like most new players, the Nomad Jukebox is compatible with the Secure Digital Music Initiative. The Nomad Jukebox will be available this spring and will cost under $600. Proving that MP3 audio is much more than just an internet-only technology were the stereo components that support MP3 audio. The Audio Request stores up to 300 hours of digital audio. It has both digital and analog line inputs, so you can archive all that dusty vinyl, organize those tracks into playlists, then download them to your portable player, all without a PC. The Audio Request will cost $800 and will be available at the end of this month. There are portable versions of this concept, too. The MP Juke is a standalone portable player that plays both regular audio as well as MP3 files burned to CD. You can store up to 12 hours of MP3 audio on one CDR. The MP Juke will cost around $200 and should be available in April. iJam will offer a similar device that they expect to be available in March and to cost about $129. As MP3 players change to meet the needs of more consumers, listening to your favorite tunes will be easier than ever.
New, fresh gear for you, Friday, 1:30, 12:30 Central, right here. ZDTV.
Got an email from Justin in Randleman, North Carolina. He says, "What's up? Are the emulators I found on the web for the NES, SNES, N64, PSX, Dreamcast under the same protection as the emulator Blame? Game emulators in the law."
What's up with that?
The Screensavers continue. So I got an email from Justin in Randleman, North Carolina. He asks, "Are the emulators I found on the web for the NES, SNES, N64, PSX, and Dreamcast under the same protection as the emulator Bleem?" Well, I don't know if Bleem is under protection, actually. Let's talk about emulators, and then I think probably there's no better person to talk about this than somebody who has firsthand knowledge of the subject. The president of Bleem, ladies and gentlemen. Dave, is it Herpelsheimer?
Herpelsheimer.
I got it right! Welcome to the Screensavers, Dave. It's good to have you.
Appreciate it.
So, first of all, we should talk about Bleem a little bit, because I think this is probably the most successful commercial emulator out there right now. There's been a non-commercial emulator that's been around for years called MAME.
Sure.
And that's for playing arcade games and other games.
Mm-hmm.
Bleem is designed for one thing, playing PlayStation games, right?
Right.
How'd the idea come about?
Well, actually, it's, my partner, Randy Linden, thought about beginning in '98. He was saying that the PlayStation was pretty much coming to the end of its useful lifespan, and at that point decided that it was time to start looking at keeping those games alive. Basically, every other console that's ever been out there has died out when the hardware dies.
The games
all
go.
the games die. You know,
now,
20
as it turned
games,
out,
50 games.
Randy was wrong. The PlayStation's not only not dead yet, but when PlayStation 2 comes out, it will play these old games.
Sure, but the thing is, they're only going to play them at the original PlayStation resolution, the 320 by 240, or whatever that particular game was written for. They didn't actually take advantage of the new hardware to play the games at a higher resolution.
The things I like about Bleem, let's just show Bleem for a second. The main thing I like about Bleem is it kind of does the PlayStation 1 better, because if you have acceleration in your hardware, we're going to get this started here.
Yeah, this is your system here. We've got to unload something there.
Okay. If you have accelerated hardware like a Voodoo card, Bleem will take advantage of it and actually gives you better looking games than the PlayStation does. Now, Sony probably doesn't like that all too much. In fact, did Sony go after you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was their complaint? They're still going after you, by the way. That's not over, is it?
Yeah, no, they've been suing us for quite a while. Okay. They went after us for a number of claims. I mean, it was a mixture of copyright violations. They said that we stole their BIOS out of the PlayStation. It was all based...
They didn't believe that you could do this without stealing their code.
Yeah, and
you didn't, though. You reverse engineered it.
No, the funny thing was it was all based on a prior suit lawsuit from the company Connectix.
Right.
Had kind of come in before us and sort of muddied the water.
Connectix did a PlayStation emulator for the Macintosh.
Right.
What's the status of that suit?
Now, they got to their preliminary injunction and were actually stopped. They're not shipping any product right now, and they're appealing.
Kidding.
Yeah, they're appealing, but they found that they had actually copied the emulator, or copied the BIOS from the PlayStation.
They did have information about how PlayStation worked.
Right.
From Sony.
Well, they were using the BIOS, and and there's some other stuff from your Rosie sites and a couple other arguments and stuff that they were talking about.
Can we go full screen on this, or will it play full screen?
If this card's going to be happy or not.
We're using a GeForce, and this is a newer card, so it may or may not.
Not clean on it. No.
Okay.
Well, anyway, you can see the graphics.
It looks good. No, it really does. That's one issue of this. It's very difficult to do an emulator because PC hardware varies like crazy, unlike the PlayStation.
Right.
And we found that this actually works pretty well, although it doesn't work with every game.
Yeah.
80 or 90, something like that? Or
no, actually, right now we're up to over 300.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and actually, as far as 3D cards and stuff go, we work with just about everything out there. The GeForce is a little bit new, and that one came out. It's the drive. I hate to say it because you call up every tech support line. Well, if you reinstalled Windows, check your drivers.
Right.
It really comes down to drivers. We were out for probably 4 months, and people never believed that it was drivers until finally Voodoo came out with a new set,
and it fixed everything.
Suddenly, everyone's computer worked.
Let me ask you about the legality. There's really two issues of legality with all of these emulators. The emulator itself, and I guess you have just said that if it's your position anyway, that if the emulator is written clean, in other words, no code was stolen from the company, then it's legal to do that.
Sure.
What about the games now? You're kind of in the clear because you only play legitimate PlayStation games. You play them in the CD-ROM, and that's how it works. But a lot of these emulators, like MAME, use downloadable ROMs. They actually download the cartridge ROMs or the ROMs from the arcade.
Right.
What's the legality on that?
Well, the question comes down to, with all this old stuff, abandonware, you figure there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, no, the company's not
using it. Who's going to, no one's losing money or making money off of it. But the thing is, the guys still own a copyright on it. It also
a good example, Atari, which is out of business.
Sure.
But Microsoft and some other companies have bought the Atari logos. You can buy Centipede from Microsoft. So clearly they own the copyright.
And someday they might want to come out with a game. The thing is, to be able to use a game from a cartridge, to be able to use a ROM on your machine, you have to own a copy of the game.
That's the thing.
That's the rule. And
if I own the game, and this is fair use again, it's okay for me to use it.
As long as there's not a license on it. Now, if there's no license and it's just sold to you, if you own a copy of a copyrighted work, there's a special provision just for software that says, well, we know you have to copy it to be able to use it. You have to make a copy
You're
of
allowed.
RAM. Yeah, you have to stick it in RAM if you even want to use it. So
many of these license agreements say, you don't own this. You're borrowing it from us. You have a license to use it.
Exactly.
Are you out of luck there?
Sony ones generally don't. Some of the, I think Activision puts it specifically in there. But most of the PlayStation games are actually just sold. They're not licensed for use.
So copying this, for instance, that wouldn't be a violation.
No, it's actually under 117.1 of the copyright law. You're allowed to make a copy for archival purposes, although you can't use it on a PlayStation because they lock you out. And you're also allowed to make as many copies as long as it's an essential step. So if you have to take a ROM off a cartridge, stick it on your hard drive, and then load it into RAM to run it on your emulator, as long as you own the original game and it was sold to you, it's legal.
So to answer the question, the court is still out on whether Bleem is legal. Sony says it's not. You say it is, and in my opinion, it sounds like you've got a very good case. As far as these games, it's perfectly legal if you own the game to run it on an emulator.
Just make sure that it doesn't say licensed and limits your use.
There's no question about that. Now, the other emulators like MAME and so forth, those are probably legal. I mean, it depends on whether they stole code or not. But it's clearly illegal to download a copyrighted game and run that on those emulators.
Exactly. It's sort of a gray thing that you kind of wondered, is anybody actually going to
care?
If you own the game and you download it, do they know if you took it off the cartridge or someone else did? So it's great
stuff. I really appreciate your coming by. I wish you all the best. I think Bleem is a great product. Sorry we couldn't get it to work on our GeForce card, but I've used it, and I really like it a lot. If you want to learn more about emulators, our website has a lot more. Rogers, the king of emulators, has written a bunch of stuff at thescreensavers.com, and I thank you, David, for coming by. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Now, you say you want to be on the show. I know what you should do. You should record and send us a video email. We've got instructions. We even got scripts to make it easy. It's at thescreensavers.com. Just click on the is it the interact button? The interact button to find out more. Let's give a warm welcome once again to James from Ovila, Texas. We couldn't get James on the air before, but let's do it now. James?
Hey, you can see this? You made it to the year 2000. You didn't think you were going to make it, did you? Well, you did. Next coming up is the Screensavers with Kate and Leo. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Amaze yourself.
Welcome to the screensavers. Take a peek up there on your screen. So far, 92% of you say, yeah, I can crack my own software.
Yeah.
Hello. Clicking no means yes, you can crack your own software. Screensavers.com. 24 hours
That's
to
confusing.
vote.
No means yes. That's confusing.
Yes. No means, for the rest of you, no means no. No always means no. Barry says he wants to know about building a PC for under $1,000.
We showed how to
cheap PC?
Yeah, we spec'd that out in the show notes. If you go back through our old show notes. But why do that when you can watch Kate's PC?
That's right.
When we,
build my own next month for about $1,500. So stay tuned.
That's it for the Screensavers today. I'm Leo Laporte.
I'm Kate Patello. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Little hop. Actually, why not?